Hello and welcome to another video on the 1942 Capehart 500M restoration. We now have the original 1942 upgraded Capehart tuner on the bench. We're going to go through this entire tuner and it will be quite the job to complete. So as you can see here, we have the top side shown. Here we have our dial, which shows the broadcast band AM, the FM, and then two shortwave bands. You can see here on the supports for the treble control and the bass control, they're heavily corroded. We will have to clean and preserve to the best of our ability. The metal underneath, plating's probably gone, so we'll have to brainstorm on how we're going to do that. 100% still yet to be determined. The original white paint will be removed and repainted. This is to reflect the dial lamp, which would sit in here, reflect off the reflector here, and it would cast a shadow on the dial facing for your treble control, your bass control, and also for the main volume here. You can kind of see that here. We have pot metal failure on the collared gearing here on the shaft for the treble control, and then also for the bass control, though both of those have failed and expanded. Moving back to the next section on top of the tuner, we have our eye tube, bracketry that holds the dial string, also our 4 dial lamps. Our main tuning drum here is completely failed. It's pot metal and the bracketry underneath it is snapped, so that all need to be replaced. We have a coupling here. The leather has failed on that. Plenty of rust and corrosion on top of the chassis. We'll be going through everything. These covers for the pre-selector control are always pot metal for 1942 and for 41. This one is in excellent condition, believe it or not. It's the first time I've ever seen one in that good a shape for 1942. The 41 tuners use the same pot metal as we just discussed, although it was more stable and a better metal, which today seems to still survive. But almost all the 42 tuners suffer from pot metal fatigue to where they become non-functional after X amount of years. So we have all of our coil cans on top for the AM and FM circuit, as well as the RF and IF stages. And then we have our radio tubes, our cabling that sits here in the back, a neat original feature to still have, which is always missing on these Capeharts for 42, doublet and regular antenna switch that is located right up here. Looking here in the back, we have our notice for the extended control and also our tube diagram and trimmer diagram for the radio tuner. This is for the 1942 tuner. The 41 tuner is practically identical, at least in terms of visuals. They made a few upgrades in 42, which made it Capehart's finest tuner before the war. Right there's our Jones plug for the extended control operation and remote control. And then finally we have these two wooden supports that were attached to the cabinet. We'll remove those here soon. A lot going on here on this 42 tuner. So we've got a number of items to replace here on the top. We have the pot metal fatigued items. We need to find a solution to figure out the corrosion issue. To the best of our ability, I do want to keep the original tuner intact, as it'll preserve the integrity of the original upgrade of the machine. And let's go ahead and check out the underside. You will be surprised to see just how much is going on under there. Okay, here is the underside of the 1942 Series M radio tuner. You can see a lot is going on. Up here in the front we have our pre-selectors there in the back, our RF and IF section, our trimmers. most likely parts of our FM section as well up here. This section down here is for the pre-selector motor drive control. There's our motor for that. This is our dial tuning motor for the extended control, and our dial drum gearing right here. You'll notice every single solder joint has paint on it. That was quality control from the factory. Farnsworth started building Capehart electronics, I think, in '41, and they did a really good job of it. You see the quality control here, and we have plenty of wax capacitors, silver micas, and also just mica capacitors in general. Plenty of carbon resistors to check through. We have our 3 relays here for on and off, and I'm pretty sure one of these is for the extended control, but don't quote me just yet. We will dig into those soon. I've done one of these tuners before, and it was a real challenge, I must say. It was a real challenge indeed. By far Capehart's most complicated for before World War II. So you can kind of get an idea there of just how packed everything is. So we'll remove these boards, start on the top side, show our updates there, and then we'll dig in underneath. We're going to go slow with this one, and we're going to start out replacing the bare minimum, and then we'll slowly advance and check everything and slowly replace what's needed. First up will be all the wax capacitors underneath, and then we'll have to take apart the motors and lubricate those. And then check the micas, the carbons, and so on. So stay tuned.